they're going to be up for it. They're scrapping for their lives as well. They need to make it into Champions League. It's not looking
Yeah.
secure. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough game. And you can't follow up a North London derby with a half-assed performance against Chelsea.
It doesn't mean much if you go win the North London derby. Not that beating Spurs is anything to scream and shout about, but
Yeah.
again, it's purely because we want to win a title, we need to go on a run of form. I'd also say, to go back to your question about what you said about how I feel about the game, I liked Arteta's approach beyond the obvious. Maybe there was that healthy arrogance because we're a class above them. As you alluded to, we made a mistake and we kind of kept it moving. Hincapié and Timber. Obviously, Timber got an assist, and I just think Hincapié was great, but it just felt like you're playing as traditional fullbacks. Everyone's just playing their roles. We've got the framework, and there's a bit of freedom. So when you got your attackers finding each other and relishing it, when you got your fullbacks doing what they're doing, like, I'm always gonna laugh. Obviously, big up Mascara as well for his cameo as well. So
Yeah.
all
But
in all,
it was
it's a great game.
simplified, was it not? It felt
Just
like our
keeping it
game was
simple.
simplified, but it's not like we don't see that in cup competitions. We see that in the Champions League. So how do we apply that on a normal basis? Because our game does feel kind of convoluted at times. Like we need to make scoring goals brain surgery at times, and I'm not sure
That's a
why
way
that
of
is.
defending the lead, scoring and keeping up that momentum
Yeah.
and that pressure. And I've only think like you said, I've seen it in the Champions League. At this point, the Champions League run has been faultless. I feel I saw it against Newcastle in its whole totality of the 90 minutes. I'll give the boys and the gaffer that. I saw it against Spurs, as you alluded to. If I'm honest with you, beyond that, and I'm probably scratching, I know we've beat Burnley and we've battered Burnley and Leeds away. If I'm honest, probably the second half against City, purely because they went into their shell. They tried to
Mhm.
pack up shop and kind of keep it moving, but we were losing at that point. Like, we were
Mm.
chasing the game. We had nothing to kind of lose. So I do kind of have to not rate that. Of course, there's times where you have to box smart. You might be a goal up and you have to be a bit conservative. But there's many ways to kind of see out a lead. And I think we've got that, apart from what you're alluding to and what we saw against Spurs, and maintain the pressure. Just keep going, keep putting the balls in the back of the net. Again, I think people are going to mainly the media, they're overrating Spurs because Spurs capitalized, quote unquote, on two mistakes. One goal obviously was from Declan Rice. VAR did us a kind of favor. Other than that, we were just better than them. I have to ask you the obvious, yeah. Was it a foul? Because I personally think that foul on Gabriel Magalhaes got no place in the game. It's very dangerous. I think that's the worst tackle I've seen in many a year, Jess, man.
Hmm. Um,
Of course, I'm shameless.
I mean, I think that it's a soft foul. And it's one of those where if it goes against you,
You're
we're
livid.
looking at Gabriel like, why would you do that? But, it
It
went
didn't work
for
for him
us.
against
So,
Newcastle away.
yeah, I mean, twice. He's
Yeah.
done that twice against Newcastle. I think people forget that he did it earlier this season and a couple of years ago where
Yeah,
he
but that
felt,
one, he was actually pushed. I'm not going to cap. So
yeah,
that's why I
no,
don't blame him for play acting now.
he did. I think what makes it worse for him is the like the drama, the cinema attached to it makes it look like he's trying to cheat his way into something. And I think just when maybe he's overshot it and he's not in the right position to clear it, his fail safe is, well, back into the player, they put their hands on me, I fall down, because we see him do that outside of the box all the time. So,
See, a lot of players in the league do it.
yeah, it's a soft one, but at the same time, it's like, by touching him at all, you make the referee have to make a
You've given the
decision.
ref a decision to make. Who knows, if you
Exactly.
legitimately try win it, you might actually win it. And again, Gabriel will be the fool guy. But for me, that was the one of the only times we've kind of switched off. I think they played the ball in behind for Conor Gallagher. Hincapié, it's not. I know it's come from his role, but it's his side of the pitch. But it's actually not his fault. I think it's actually Trossard. You've not followed your runner. Balls come into the box. It is a soft one for me. I don't really like us giving the referee a decision to make because, as you alluded to, it's not worked for us twice against Newcastle. One
Mm.
is actually fouled. And yet, well, Sunday it didn't. Now, just because it's soft doesn't mean it's not a foul. Of course,
Well,
we
yeah.
all know. We all know we've been watching the game. It is a soft one. The game's kind of going into a weird place. But sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to live clean. We all see players acting, buying fouls and things. And people used to call us naive. It's like they kind of hate us now because we're half decent at it. But everything works for
Yeah.
us, man. We have to kind of highlight
100%.
some individuals before we talk about like the main kind of talking points. Yeah. What did you make of Mascara at right back in his cameo? And what did you make of Hincapié's performance?
Like beyond the obvious goal scorers, I feel like their performances were the most stand out because, well, from Mascara's standpoint, it's like if you're going to play a more defensive-minded right back and Timber's struggling, for his life, why not play Mascara there? And it almost made me like, why haven't you done that more? Because Mascara's been available for a minute now, and we haven't really seen him that much. Feels like Arteta has to be like back against the wall to use some of his squad options that.
And White weren't in the squad for the North London derby, or he might have played, and we're not talking about this.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Mascara did really well. And I think as a rule of thumb, outside of Ben White and Calafiori, our fullback options are much better when they play like regular fullbacks, and their jobs are to recover the ball and give it to the more creative players. It was nice.
Most chances in the first half, which is mad.
Yeah, I prefer to see them less involved, like on the first line. A lot of times they're on the first line, tucked in between like the center back and the fullback, and you see them get into these weird positions where they don't look the best. But I thought Hincapié was making nice passes into like the left half space, which you usually would not see him making those passes because he's in positions to receive those passes in games, So I just think players playing in positions that suit them helps a lot. And Mascara, Hincapié, and Timber are ball recovery monsters. They're good at winning the ball off of players and then just give it to the better players. Like it's not hard.
Even people who are paid to score and assist and whatnot, and let defenders defend to a degree.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think Hincapié is a player that's been in good form since before the Man United game. It's just we weren't playing well, so his performances didn't really stand out. But he looks really good. And he's one of the few players that we can really, pull on and like think, and lean on in terms of knowing how to win. He's won a league title before, in a team that wasn't meant to win. So he doesn't look shook like some of the other players do.
South American.
Yeah. So I rate him very highly. I think we're in a good position with him, being fit and playing there. I know some people would rather see more attack-minded fullbacks, but if they play their role and we just give the ball to the creative players and the striker, then we won't be so desperate for our fullbacks to be something that they don't need to be. And if I'm honest, we're not going to be able to rely upon White or Calafiori. Neither one of them can maintain a level of fitness. So we're probably going to see the more traditional defensive-minded fullbacks, as long as Arteta plays them in a way where they're not inverting and trying to get into the first line and getting it, I think we're in a much better position. He was really, really good. And so was Mascara. Mascara was fire. Mascara to me is, our
13 million.
Best signing. Like he just does what he needs to do. He's the guy.
Goes home. And he's unlucky that obviously if everybody's fit, you've got Timber at right back, you've got Saliba and Gabriel in front of you at centre half. Not to say that one day maybe he could challenge them for a place, but that's what you're going to face 9 times out of 10. Obviously it's a squad game. You need a lot of the squad. The only time I think Mascara's, I wouldn't even say let himself down, because obviously mistakes happen. Is obviously when he got hooked at Newcastle away, but we've played him in some big games like Bayern Munich, or 9 times out of 10, some hostile environments where you're playing at, you weren't even in the starting lineup for Anfield, but you're in and we did lose. You weren't a talking point. You've come in, fair enough, Spurs are shit, but it's a North London derby. You played quite well against Bayern, and this is what we need, especially in this day and age here where people are overpriced. 30 million from him, big up Berto. How many times have I got to say it? I do want to ask you a question, yeah. Is Hincapié, is that his spot to lose? Because I know Calafiori was great this season. He got injured. But, do you think that's his spot to lose? And then, obviously, on the right-hand side, you've got Timber. You do have the luxury of Mascara. Do you think Ben White's days at the club are numbered?
I don't know. I feel like it's a weird one because when we're in the position that we're in right now, I feel like it's difficult to really, because I feel like we're going to need everybody until the end of the season.
Same.
Beyond this season, we'll see where we're at. We're still going to need a big squad. I think people think we're going to sell all these players and do another rebuild. We're probably
not how life works, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping that Ben White can find his fitness, because I do think he will be useful for us. he offers something that the other fullbacks don't. So yeah, but in terms of Hincapié and this being his spot, yeah, I think for now it definitely is his spot. I think he's in a run of form that you can't drop him right now. Why would you? And Calafiori's not ready to go, and we don't really know what's going on with Miles in terms of like where Arteta's, does Arteta feel like he can trust him? But I still feel like people are forgetting that we're in a part of the season where we're not playing those additional playoff games. We are going to be right back in the throes of 4 competitions, in March. So writing people off and acting like this, we're not going to see a completely different 11 in a couple of weeks is like, we're not learning anything. We're not learning anything, so of course everybody's going to play their role. But right now, if I had to choose who's going to start at left back against Chelsea, it would be Hincapié.
I'm with you with that, man. It's like at the end of the day, like we just get over the line. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less in it. I want everyone to get from a human point of view. You want everyone to get a fair shot in that, but we're at the time where fair enough. Like we just need to get over the line. I love Miles Lewis-Skelly. I would like to see him in midfield. We were robbed of seeing that in the FA Cup. Obviously, you're looking at O'Reilly, who's been reverted back into his original position, and they're getting a bit of a tune out of him. So maybe that's something for Mikel Arteta to learn from. What do you make of this from Marco? I can almost guarantee you we buy another centre-back or left-back this summer and send MLS on loan. I said that months before Wanyeri went out on loan.
I mean, probably. I could see us buying another fullback. I think
I'd want a right back over a left back, another left back, if I'm honest.
I think left back we're kind of okay. I don't know, you guys. I think every summer we think we're gonna sell half the team and bring in a whole new team, and that doesn't happen, so I'm not trying to project too much, but I do think that with some of the injuries, Arsenal probably will look at bringing in a younger fullback or something like that. Center backs, I think they view some of our players able to play that position. So maybe they don't feel like they need to get a center back. But if there was one position at the back that we probably needed a little bit more coverage in, it's probably on the right. But yeah, we'll see.
So that leads me to ask you: do you think we need another defender? Everybody's
right
assume everybody's fit.
I mean, right now I don't feel like, oh my gosh, we should have went in the January window and got a defender. I don't feel that way. I think if I get to the summer, the last thing I'm thinking about is a defender. That's probably like down the list of priorities. But it's something that if you could bring in a young player that maybe could step in for Ben, I don't know. I hate having the conversation around Ben because I feel like he basically risked his life for us. I don't want to kick him to the curb. But he is going to be 29, so I get it that you have to move on from people. But I'm more concerned about what we need going forward. I don't think defense is our issue right now. Even with the injuries that we had in the defense, they still kept us afloat when it was like basically they were down bad. It was Timber and Hincapié at center backs.
And we've seen Rad play right back for us as well this season. It feels like such a long time ago. It's a weird one. I wouldn't say it's a priority. I think a priority for me would be a centre mid or two, depending on what you want to do with Lewis-Skelly. I wouldn't be against another striker. We'll get onto Gyokeres, people. And I think the absolute priority, with the greatest respect to Trossard, who for me has been the surprise there. And, Martinelli's had his moments. I don't want to have another season where we're doing live streams and we're talking about left wing. That needs to be sorted. That being said, if you could bring me, in terms of versatility, a Timber, Tomiyasu kind of one that can play across the back four, I'd be all for that. It's a weird one because I don't think we need it, but like what you said, but it's like when the season plays out and Callah's going to pick up a knock, Ben White's going to pick up a knock. We've obviously seen Saliba and Gabriel miss out, so I wouldn't be against it. You can never... you can never be too prepared, in it. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but actually, what might be a better question is like, why do we have so many defenders and so many players, and we still have these injuries? I feel like more than anything, buying players is not going to help us if whatever's going on training pitch or whatever is not being investigated. Because again, we came into this season with a really deep squad, and we've gone through some real bad injury,
same kind of thing,
issues.
Who hasn't been injured in our team, really?
Yeah,
question.
Exactly. People that have never got injured are getting injured this season. So yes, we'll need to replace some players and obviously reboot the squad. Like you always have to. But I think more than anything, I would want to know what we're going to do in the physio type of situation? Because if we just keep buying, but players keep getting injured, is that helping us? So yeah, we could bring in another defender, but if I was honest, I think our priorities lie a little bit further ahead.
I think the absolute underlining priority is actually left wing. Like, there's no way around it. Centre mid, I'm very strong on that, but it kind of is what it is. We have to talk about Gyokeres and Eze, man. What did you make of Eze's performance? What did you make of Gyokeres? Some are saying that's his best performance in an Arsenal shirt. I'm petty. I just don't want to give that to Spurs, but I think obviously you can't subtract his goals, which were well taken finishes in a North London derby. But the overall performance was there. I must admit, I thought Eze was good. When I watched the game again, whether it's the little decoy run he made when Timber's giving it to Gyokeres for his first, or a lot of his play with Bukayo, he was a lot better than probably what meets the eye. So yeah, them two are the standouts. But what did you make of the two summer signings, man?
Yeah, I think that was
30 between them as well.
That was definitely Gyokeres' best performance to me. Overall, I think people were being a little harsh on him in the first half. To be honest, I
witch
thought
hunts and pitchforks for the guy.
Yeah, I think he was good. I think he bullied them, which is something that we're not used to seeing. Usually he's the one getting bullied, so I think he had a good game. I think with Gyokeres, for me, it's just, he needs to get into positions at the top of the box. When you look at the way that he shoots and the power on his shot, he's a good striker of the ball.
Such a well-taken finisher, man. And you'd expect that of an international footballer, 27 years of age, and all the things that he's done, whether we rate him or not.
Yeah, but we don't get that very often, so I think getting him into those positions and giving him the ball is the most important thing. And I don't want to take anything away from him. I feel like, yes, I do have it in the back of my head that Spurs are not good. But at this stage, it's like, if you flat track bully for the rest of the season, we'll win, because it's not like all the teams that we're playing are going to be the top 1% of football, if that makes sense, so regardless of the opposition, regardless of what position they're in, I think Gyokeres just had a really good game. He had a top-level game. You could tell that he was confident. And I'm wondering if
against Wolves in a disappointing game as well.
Yeah, and whatever conversation that they had after the Wolves game, I think if you had to look at a player and say, who listened to that, it was probably Gyokeres. And I wonder if that conversation was, can you give us the ball? Can you give me the ball? Like, you don't give me the ball. So if you give me the ball, I will score. But you guys don't give me the ball.
Sorry to cut you, but on that, do you think he's earned the trust of his teammates now? Because me and you have done these videos a long time, but focusing on this season, we and you have gone through the comments about Arteta saying the players need to find him. Obviously, do they trust him or do they not? It feels like whether we like Gyokeres and he's aesthetically pleasing, he's got that balance now, isn't it? Like, the players are finding him to the game.
He 60% of the games he doesn't even get a shot. So it's hard to gain trust when you're not given the opportunity to fuck it up. And I feel like he, in some games, does not even get the opportunity. Like, it's not like he's Darwin Nunez, right? Darwin Nunez was getting loads of chances and missing them. He was getting no chances. And so, yes, he's rough around the edges, and his overall technical level is not, I think, what most Arsenal fans would associate with what we want. But make no mistakes about it. We just need somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net when we need it. And he did that, so what would disappoint me is if we go into the next game and then all of a sudden they're not passing him the ball or they're not supplying him. So yeah, I think people doing a lot of micro-analyzing Gyokeres and but he's not. He's on the same amount of goals as your golden boy Ekitike. So we just need somebody to put the ball in the back of the net, not micro-analyze, give him the ball, and let's see. I think he was really good, especially the first goal, and we needed that goal. His first goal was an important goal because we had made the mistake, and it was after halftime, and they were dooming us, and Arsenal will be devastated because they didn't do this and that, and they were ahead, and then he scores the go-ahead goal, which I think gave the team more confidence. It was an important goal. So it wasn't just the fourth goal and a rout. It was an important goal. So yeah, I think he was really, really good. And I thought Eze was really good as well. I think with Eze right now, it's just
loves it against Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah, he loves playing against them, but I need you to also love playing against Chelsea. I need you to also love playing against Brighton, because he's going to get a run. And like Odegaard is still in and out of the team, and Kai, we don't know where he's at. So, and there's no Marino. So I don't think Arteta is going to drop him after the performance that he had at North London Derby.
You reckon?
I don't think he will.
We're assuming Chelsea in it, like a week removed, as they still starting obviously against Chelsea.
Yeah, I think he will. I think because Arteta has the opportunity to allow somebody to, again, have the opportunity to fuck it up, give him the opportunity to mess it up, or add on to what he's already done in the North London Derby, while also allowing some of these other players to fully recover from their. Kai and Odegaard have been in and out of the team all year.
I like what you said with Ben White. We've ran Kai into the ground, whether people rate him or not. We have.
Yeah,
Sly Gabriel Magalhaes as well.
Exactly. So to me, at this stage, it's like you have to. We're going to be at home. He just had that great performance. You yanked him out of the team against Brentford. No, you yanked him after the Wigan game and then wanted him to come in for the Wolves game when we were like down bad. And I just feel like he's going to have to manage Eze differently than the way that he's managed other players. In the past, I feel like he's managed some of the players that need a little arm around the shoulder, that need a little bit more with that iron fist, that only like, Saka and those kind of players, like they can deal with that. Eze needs a little bit of the arm around the shoulder and that kind of stuff. So I think you need to play him against Chelsea. You need to give him that opportunity. But you also, Arteta, need to take some of the tactics that you had against Spurs and apply it to Chelsea. You're not going to be able to do it 100%. Chelsea are not going to just be like wide open. But if we're not finding
a better tactician than Tudor based on the clubs they're at this moment in time.
Yeah,
Chelsea's defense is food, man. Let's get at them.
Yeah, I don't want to see all of a sudden Timber in that front line again, getting more opportunities than Eze to shoot. I don't want that. I don't want Timber having more shots than Eze in the game. You need to give him more freedom. The key to Eze is freedom. And I know that Arteta is kind of like, freedom, the light, but you need to give him some of that because otherwise you're just setting him up to fail. So it's both. But if Eze can have a run, then it will allow other players to not have to be rushed back after injury. And it'll give you more options in the long run. You'll have a confident Eze, fully fit Kai Havertz, fully fit Odegaard to go into these last couple of games, plus Champions League, plus FA Cup, plus the final. So, yeah, I think he has to. He has to. He actually has to start both of Gyokeres and Eze if they're fit. He has to.
And I think with they're both it sounds a bit dumb because every human being is a confident player, whether Jess has that like Ibrahimovic belief in herself, or I'm a bit more of a softer touch. If I score, I think I'm amazing, or I think I'm shaky. It helps everyone. I've said this to you before, I think with Gyokeres, away from the whole fanfare with what he's doing at Sporting, the fact we needed a forward, just playing for Arsenal anyways, and how the dynamics are, I wouldn't say he's lacked confidence, but it's looked like it's a bit of a shell shock. And I won't quite say it's not like you don't believe in yourself and things, but when you're not scoring and you're going through that kind of like transition to being an Arsenal footballer, I do think I've seen that. Like nowadays, he scores, he's off doing that. He kind of had to be egged on. For Eze, you need to get a run in it. I think it's more of I think Gyokeres can more cope with if they've got 10 games. Like obviously he's a striker, but Gyokeres can more cope with you ain't scored in 10 games in those 10 games. Eze kind of needs to feel a bit of confidence. So if these men collectively can get confidence, if the players can go through a purple patch in the attack, I'm laughing. And we all are laughing. Like, we just have it right. We need our attack. Obviously, our defense and midfield, but our attackers need to carry the burden. I want to ask you about Saka as well. What did you make of Saka's performance? Because I do feel people are dishonest. I think Saka's goal-scoring exploits have been poor this season. It didn't look like it was his day, but I think when you remove the GA, and especially when I talk to a lot of Spurs match-going fans, they agree with me that he had a good game. I actually think he had a very decent game, very good partnership with Eze. I know he obviously got an assist for Eze, but yeah, what did you make of Saka's performance? And like, do you think the 10 experiment with him is dead? Whether it's because of Eze or whatever option we could deploy there?
I don't think it's dead because I still think Arteta is going to revert back to the people that he really trusts in games where he's afraid of getting out physical, like the physical part of the game is going to. Boys, can you stop? Sorry.
He's offering his opinion, man.
They're doing the most right now. But yeah, I think Eze is going to continue to play there, but Saka will probably get opportunities there, here, and there. You know, I don't see it being dead. Now, Saka, I think that he had his usual good game without GA. That's
Fulham
what
away comes to mind.
yeah, it was like the usual game without GA. But I would be dishonest if I did not say that I think that the finishing is an issue, because we won, but Saka has lacked that finishing touch this season. And he's your main guy. So where we kind of got away with it because, Gyokeres and Eze did their thing, he needs to be putting some of those chances away. Great player, best player, face of the franchise, all that. But I
I don't want
also
to be that
think,
guy about 300 grand a week. He should be
yeah,
doing
I'm not going to go
everything.
into any of that because I feel like ultimately whenever somebody gets a new contract or, they're getting paid more or whatever, their status in the team changes. There's already an army of people with the pitchfork saying, well, does he deserve this money? Oh no, like he had a bad performance. He's not living up to the price tag. There's always people that have that, they're doing that. So Saka is going to get that no matter what. And there also always has to be this person is doing the best job and this person is doing the worst job. So Saka, if he doesn't start scoring, people are going to be on him. It's going to be, there always has to be somebody that's not living up to it or not pulling their weight or whatever. So if Gyokeres and Eze are doing their thing, it's going to be Saka if he's not